All right, radio check, radio check. We should be live. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Apologies for being slightly late. I just lost track of the time. I was watching the footage of the cars go around, and I just forgot that I was meant to start the stream. Yeah. All right. So we are 27 minutes away from the start of the Qatar Grand Prix. We've got everyone lined up on the grid already. Everyone's done their install laps. No issues for any drivers. Nobody will be starting from the pit lane today. Everyone starting on the grid as normal. The other things that we have got to, the main thing that we've got to talk about is the fact that Max Verstappen has been given a one-place grid penalty, which is, the last time a one-place grid penalty was given out was in 2020. The last time a one-place grid penalty was given out due to something that happened in qualifying was in 2016. It is so strange what the FIA are doing, and there's nothing that I can describe to explain what's going on there and what's going on in the stewards' heads. It makes absolutely zero sense. But yeah, all right, we've got 1,300 people tuned in. Thank you everyone for tuning in. It's been a fantastic season so far, and I'm glad that you're still tuning in. Even though the World Championship has been won, the Constructors is still yet to be decided. There are 30 points in between in between McLaren and Ferrari. Ferrari are 30 points behind McLaren, and if they are going to win the Constructors' Championship, they're going to have to gain at least 16 points on the McLaren team this race, and then probably 15 next race, and then they'll win it. So it's going to be very, very tight if Ferrari are going to win the championship. Yeah. Right, the one in 2020 was Max 2 in Qatar. Was it? I didn't know, actually. I thought there was another one. There was another one that happened in 2020, which was in Imola. There was someone got a one-place grid penalty for crashing under the safety car or something like that. I think. I'm not 100% sure. I can't remember perfectly, but yeah. Is Max taking the W today? Well, we've got some more information on that. So, if you looked at Max Verstappen's sprint race performance and sprint quali performance, the car wasn't really that quick. It was quite slow, to be honest, and he was struggling to get past Nico Hülkenberg in the sprint race. I think he ended up in 8th place. Hülkenberg was in 7th. So yeah, the weekend so far up until that point was absolutely terrible for Max Verstappen. I mean, stuck behind a Haas just goes to show you how slow that car was. However, if you were watching the sprint race live stream with me, we realised that what Red Bull were doing, they were sending Sergio Perez out to do testing, essentially, for setup testing for the car during the sprint race. They had sent him out on... Well, they'd firstly started him from the pit lane, they'd modified his setup, and then he was driving around in just clean air, and driving around in clean air, and gathering in setup information data for the team. And then what happened was he came into the pits on lap number, I think it was lap number like 23. Oh no, there were 19 laps of the sprint, so I'd say he pitted on lap number 17, 16, like that. And then after he came into the pits, he put on a new front wing, didn't even change tyres, just a new front wing, or modify the front wing angle or something like that. And then the team essentially learned a lot from what Sergio Perez did in the practice in the sprint race, and then they applied that to both of the drivers' cars, and that's why Perez could make it out of Q1, and that's why Max Verstappen could go and get pole, because they had learned a lot from the setup testing that Perez did during the sprint race. I mean, it's a bold strategy to do setup testing in a sprint race, but I guess if you are nowhere near the points, you might as well do some setup testing there. Yeah, they changed his front wing, they did some setup testing, and they figured out what they needed to do to make the car go faster, and they applied it during the sprint, they applied it during qualifying, and Verstappen was on pole. So, yeah, very, very interesting. Very interesting tactics there from Red Bull, but I guess it's worked out for them. Verstappen was the fastest car, and then of course now it's time to talk about the penalty. We are 22 minutes away from the race start. You know what? Firstly, I'm going to go through the race strategy. Last year, the Qatar Grand Prix was definitely a two-stop strategy. The tyre wear was so high that you just had to do a two-stop, and there was a risk of a puncture if you didn't do a two-stop. However, this year, with temperatures so much lower, air temperature 19 degrees, track temperature 23 degrees, the teams actually could, and this is a very big could, they could pull off a one-stop strategy. The drivers do lose a lot of time in the pit lane at this circuit just because of how long it is, and that means because of how long it is, they end up having to... they lose more time when they come in for a pit stop. Normally, the drivers lose around about 20 seconds or 21 seconds in the pit lane. Here at Qatar, they'll lose 28 and a half seconds if you assume a 2-second pit stop. So, yeah, essentially, because the pit stop windows is so much longer, they could try and do a one-stop. We'll wait and see. But yes, the previous deployments of the safety car, we've had a 50% chance of a safety car, 50% chance of a virtual safety car, no red flags so far. The weather is going to be dry as standard as it is in a desert, 0% chance of rain. And if we have a look at the strategy, so you start on the medium tyres, go to between lap number 19 and lap number 25. So this is very similar to what happened in the sprint race. Everyone put on a set of medium tyres and went to lap number 19. And most of the tyres that the drivers were using were used medium tyres as well. So because of that, in total, the medium tyres had probably done around 25 laps. So we know for a fact the medium tyres can do around 25 laps. And then you put on the set of soft tyres and you go from lap number 25 all the way to lap number 57. So that's 32 laps on soft tires, which on hard tires, which is going to be a bit of a stretch. So it'll be interesting to see the strategy. If one team does go for a one stop, then there's going to be everyone else who's doing a two stop will try and chase them down. But yes, it all depends on how much sliding the drivers get. If their tyres are sliding around a little bit, they'll overheat. And if they overheat, you'll get a lot more graining and they'll just wear out faster. So all of these things do have to be taken into account. And we'll just wait and see how it goes. All right. Piastri is to be investigated after the race. Yes, I know. So what happened is... what's happened is... when the drivers do their installation laps, they're allowed to do 2 or 3 installation laps while the pit lane is still open. So what happens is they come out, they do an out lap, and then they come and pit on the same lap as well. They come back into the pits, make some changes, or put on some new tyres, and then go back out again. And when Piastri was coming back into the pits because he had to get a move on for whatever reason, the team had to make some changes to the car, and they probably told him to come in quickly. So because that, he overtook Hamilton and I think another driver in the pit lane entry. Hamilton came over the radio, was like, Piastri's just overtaken me on the pit lane entry. And then the Mercedes engineers reported that to the stewards. The stewards they noted it. And then after the stewards noted it, they said Piastri will be investigated after the race. I don't think it should really mean much. At most, it should be a fine. However... the FIA, honestly, I have no idea what they're going to do. Maybe they'll come out and say, Piastri, you're going to get a 20-place grid penalty for doing that. And, since Piastri doesn't have a British passport, who knows what will happen. Yeah. All right. Max did get pole position. He was the fastest car in qualifying yesterday. However, 5 hours after the qualifying had finished, the FIA put out an announcement saying that Max Verstappen will be given a one-place grid penalty due to driving slowly under qualifying conditions. Now, this is the most stupid penalty that I've seen all season long, right? So... As you guys know, if someone's on a hot lap in quali and you're on a slow lap, you have to get out of the way for the driver on a hot lap. Otherwise, you block them and you get a 3-place grid penalty for blocking a driver on a hot lap. That is standard FIA rules. You block someone, you get a 3-place grid penalty, and there's nothing to argue about that. However, Max Verstappen was driving slowly around the circuit. He was on the racing line. The driver behind him is George Russell, who is not on a hot lap. George Russell is on a slow lap. Max Verstappen is on a slow lap. Both drivers are on a slow lap. But the FIA come over the radio, the FIA don't come over the radio, but for whatever reason, Max Verstappen has been given a one-place grid penalty for driving slowly while another driver was on a slow lap. Like, it makes no sense because there's no, if George Russell was on a hot lap, it makes total sense. Give Max a 3-place grid penalty. He blocked him on a hot lap. However, George was on a slow lap. So was Max. So the reason for giving him a penalty makes absolutely zero sense. And I mean, I don't know why the FIA are doing this. Max Verstappen's already won the championship. There's no need to give him a 1-place grid penalty. I think, if one of the stewards wanted to spite Max Verstappen, then technically, if you give someone a grid penalty and they get pole position, they actually lose that pole position. In the stats, the rules is the pole position goes to the driver who starts first on the grid, not the person who's fastest in qualifying. So technically, George Russell has got pole position for this weekend, not Max Verstappen. But yeah, it just doesn't really matter, does it? And I don't know. It's just stupid from the FIA. Yeah, and Max slowed because of Alonso. Yeah, like, Max was slowing down for whatever reason. Like, he's on a cool-down lap. He's cooling down his tyres so he can go for another quali lap. And George was doing the same. But for some reason, they're like, oh, no, it's time to give you a penalty, mate. Yeah. Oh, well. It is what it is. Do you think it is clear that the problem is Lewis and not the car? Not saying he's driving bad, but he's driving underperforming for his caliber. Well, see, this is the issue. At Mercedes, there is, George Russell and Lewis Hamilton, both drivers, they were fairly well matched. If you look at last season, the Mercedes were fairly consistent. Those drivers were right next to each other, exactly in the same way that we see Leclerc and Sainz right next to each other very often. We see Norris and Piastri right next to each other very often. It was a similar story at Mercedes last year. But this year, especially during the second half of the season, George Russell has just been consistently being quicker than Lewis. In fact, not just at the second half of the season, during the first half of the season as well. Hamilton got off to a slow start, was having lots of issues with the car, and George Russell just wasn't having those same issues. Now, I am 100% certain that Mercedes are not sabotaging Lewis Hamilton. That's not what Mercedes would do, and it makes absolutely zero sense for them to do so. But I think Hamilton is... Wait, let me just... Yeah, so Hamilton is... Well, he's a little bit off form. That's one thing. He is obviously doubting himself a little bit because, when you've had so much success, when you've had as much success as Lewis Hamilton has at Mercedes, and then suddenly your teammates beating you, you're not winning races anymore. There's a little bit of doubt that starts to creep in. And then we've seen very often in the press conferences as well, after qualifying, he's just like, oh, I was just so slow today. And there's nothing that I could do, and it's not the team's fault, it's my fault. And I don't know, he seems partially demotivated but while being at Mercedes. There's also elements of, so for example, if you've got a job and, you put in your 2 weeks notice or your 1 month notice or whatever, that final month, you're really not that motivated to continue working as hard as you normally would. And Hamilton, from the start of the year, he knows that he's going to be driving at Ferrari. So I think part of his performance may be down to that he knows that he's leaving Mercedes. Because Hamilton is also very much known for being at the factory all of the time, looking at what the engineers are doing, seeing if he can help a little bit, if he can understand how the engineers develop the car, and if that can give him some extra little bits of speed here and there. But when you know that you're leaving at the end of the year, then those activities get reduced. You do less of that. And I think overall, just a combination of factors have led to Hamilton being slightly slower than Russell. He'll be looking to turn that around over the course of the winter break. And then once he gets to Ferrari, he'll be hoping to challenge Charles Leclerc. We'll wait and see if that has happened. All right. Yeah, we are 13 minutes away from the start of the race. They're just playing the Qatar national anthem now, and we'll be underway for the formation lap very, very shortly. Folks, if you haven't hit the like button, please be sure to do so. And if you have not subscribed as well, please be sure to do that. Hopefully we can hit 120k by the end of this stream. That'd be fantastic. And not long now, not long whatsoever. Ooh, let me just block the adverts there for you guys. There we go. And yeah, fantastic. What are your predictions for the race? I'm going to predict that Max Verstappen and George Russell are going to have contact on the opening lap. That's what I think is going to happen. I think George Russell will come over the radio at some point and say he turned in on me. Who knows what will happen? But I think that's fairly likely. Yeah, and some other news: the drivers who have even starting positions. So Max Verstappen has 2, Piastri has 4. Anyone that has an even number as their grid slot, they'll be on the dirty side of the grid. So they'll get slightly worse starts than everyone else. We saw this in the sprint race as well. The people that were on the dirty side of the grid got significantly worse starts than people on the clean side. So that should ensure and help out George Russell to lead into turn number 1. But who knows, if Verstappen can get a really good start and Russell messes up his reaction time ever so slightly, then they could be side by side as well. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's a pretty safe prediction, to be fair. All right. Let's see, what else have we got to talk about? Oh yes, we'll have a look at which tyres the drivers have got available. If we just look at the race pace simulations, McLaren, Ferrari and Red Bull look to be absolutely identical in terms of their race pace. So we'll see if, we're going to have a very, very tightly fought battle. We may get another long DRS train like we saw in the sprint race yesterday, and that'll be exciting to see what will happen. The wind speed has been a little bit unpredictable here. We've had gusts up to 40 kilometers per hour predicted for today's race. Currently, the wind is at 8 kilometers per hour, still blowing from the north and from the north direction. It's blowing from north to south, but 40 kilometer per hour gusts could be slightly unpredictable for the drivers, and we may see a couple spins because of that. But so far this weekend, we haven't had a single crash, a single spin. I don't want to jinx it, but I might just have already. But not a single crash, not a single spin, and no safety cars, no virtual safety cars, nothing. So no red flags, have we had yellow flags? I don't think we've even had yellow flags, to be honest. Not a single incident at this Grand Prix so far, and who knows what will happen. Okay. I'm going to have a quick sip of water, and we shall be underway very, very shortly for the race. Let me know what your predictions are. Who do you think will be getting the race win today? Will we see the Saubers score points? They're in 12th and 13th place, and potentially they could... potentially one of them could get up there and grab at least 1 point for Sauber at the end of the season. All right. Can we put somewhere that Max got a grid penalty? Yeah, sure. I think we're getting a lot of messages in the chat. Everyone saying Max gets grid penalty. All right, let me just stick that up on the screen so everyone can understand why Max is there in second place rather than first. I think I spot penalty. I spot that right, I think. All right. Okie dokes. Let's continue on with, let's have a look at which tyres everyone has available to them. So, Max Verstappen has got a fresh set of new medium tyres. George Russell doesn't. Ooh, this could be interesting here. Russell will be starting the race in first place, and he'll be on the clean side of the grid. However, he does not have a fresh set of medium tyres. He only has some used ones. Verstappen, however, he does have some fresh sets, so that might help him out in the first stint. Charles Leclerc's only got one set of hard tyres. That means he can't do a medium hard strategy. He'd have to do medium hard medium if he was to do a two-stop. The same can be said for Sainz. Both Ferrari drivers only have one set of medium tyres. Zhou and Bottas have got one set of hard. They've got two sets of hards. However, they've used one set of them. Also, I would like to let you guys know, not a single team apart from the Saubers have actually tested the hard tires. Every other team is just going to hope they're going to put on the soft tires after their first pit stop, and they're just going to hope that they work properly and they have the expected amount of tire wear. Because not a single team have had time to test them. Because you only had one free practice session, and they were gathering all of the data for the medium tires. They didn't have time to gather data for the hards. So we may get a two-stop, we may get a one-stop. It's all up in the air. It depends on what the C1 Pirelli tires perform like today. And not a single team knows, really, apart from Sauber, of course. All right. Oh yeah, it looked like I spelled it wrong, but sometimes the spelling looks wrong because everything is in capitals. But yeah, no, I've definitely spelled that one wrong. All right. The real question is how many drivers will survive to the end of the race. Well, this is the other thing. The drivers, I think last year and the year before, this race was very, very physical for them. And the reason for that was firstly the very high G-forces, and secondly the high temperature. But this year the temperature is much lower. I think it's because we're at a different time of the year. They raced at Qatar much earlier in the year last year, and I think it was near the summer of Qatar, whereas now it's December. It's actually December 1st, so it's time to start playing the Christmas music. We've got to start playing Last Christmas. But yeah, it's December now, so temperatures are a lot lower, so that factor is not going to be an issue for the drivers. The high G-forces will, and they'll probably have a sore neck by the end of this Grand Prix, but they shouldn't be as physically exhausted as they previously were because the temperature is much lower. Yeah. All right. Air temperature is 19 degrees, track temperature is 23 degrees, so fairly low, considering that we are in the middle of a desert. Max got a penalty for dangerous positioning. Both George and Max were on slow lap, so what is dangerous if they're only about it? Only the British stewards would know. Yeah, that is exactly. I've got to be honest with you. It makes no sense to give him a penalty for something that happened when both drivers were on slow laps. But it's the FIA. Honestly, it shouldn't be like this. Like the discussion around Formula One shouldn't be, oh, the FIA are doing something stupid. What are they doing again? Let's hope they don't totally ruin the race or the championship. But it all too often is. All too often, we're not talking about the racing itself. We're talking about the penalty that the FIA gave for whatever racing that happened. And yeah, I mean, there's a time where we called the FIA Ferrari International Assistance. There's a time we called it the Mafia, and the Mafia for McLaren, not Mercedes Assistance something something something. But yeah, who knows? And now we saw previously when the safety cars were pulled out of and the red flags were deployed at slightly odd times during the Brazilian Grand Prix. Everyone was saying, "Oh, the FIA is now rigged towards McLaren," but I don't think the FIA is rigged towards anyone. I just think that they're rigged towards stupidity. That's probably the best way to put it. Yeah, we've seen stupid calls from all around from the FIA. It's never been particularly towards one driver. I'd say if there is one driver that has been particularly targeted, we could say Max Verstappen, but that's because he's just the focal point of Formula One right now. Yeah. Who knows? All right. It may not even be bias, it's inconsistency. Yeah, that's probably a very good way to put it. So inconsistent. I mean, Charles Leclerc was given a €5,000 fine for swearing. Carlos Sainz was given a €5,000 fine for having an unsafe release. And then Lando Norris was given a €5,000 fine for driving on a wet circuit when marshals were still on the track. So those are three totally different things, and they've all been given €5,000 fines, which makes absolutely zero sense. And the inconsistency is ridiculous. Okay. Here we go then. We will be underway in 3 minutes' time. thank you everyone for tuning in. Hope you guys are enjoying the coverage. And if you haven't hit the like button, be sure to do so. Hopefully we can hit 2,000 likes. I may even increase the like target to 3,000 because I think we might hit that. All right, but here we are at the penultimate round of the Formula One season. We are at round number 23 of 24 in Lusail in Qatar. I was going to say Doha, Qatar, but no, we are in Lusail in Qatar. And here we are at the Lusail International Circuit, where it is 5.4 kilometers long. We're going to have 57 laps of racing here. The race lap record is a 1 minute 24.3 from Max Verstappen. So let's wait and see if he's going to break that today. Top speed of 344 kilometers per hour. There are 16 corners and an elevation change of 4 meters. The circuit is super duper flat. Absolutely no elevation change or camber to speak of. And we have got the hardest tyres from Pirelli's range, the C1, the C2 and the C3 for the hard, medium and soft respectively. And we're going to need the hardest tyres. The G-forces that the drivers pull through every single corner is absolutely huge, especially through turn number 12, 13 and 14 in quali. Carlos Sainz went absolutely flat, pulled 5 Gs through 12, 13 and 14, every single one of them. And it's going to be very interesting to see, how these drivers cope. All right, we've got the tyre information coming through. Everyone is starting on the soft tyres except for Nico Hülkenberg, who's on the set of hards. George Russell will have 1 lap old medium tyres, and the remaining drivers in the top 4 will have fresh mediums. 1 lap and fresh mediums is not going to have too big of a difference. So here we go. All right, let me get rid of Max has got a grid. Actually, no, I'll wait till we get underway for the formation lap. But yes, let's go from the bottom all the way to the top. We have got Esteban Ocon in 20th place. This has really been a weekend to forget for him. His teammate's up in 11th and he's down in 20th. This circuit's not been ideal for him, and neither has it been for Colapinto, who's in 19th. Hülkenberg starting the race on the hards, looking to make up some places while his teammate made it through into Q3. Hülkenberg made it through into sprint quali Q3, but just couldn't deliver in Q1 and hence got eliminated. Liam Lawson starting in 17th. He had a really bad race start for the sprint race. We'll wait and see if he can improve on that today. Alex Albon starting in 16th, his main aim for today, and so is Colapinto's main aim. Both of them will be looking to not crash and not damage the car anymore, because they have no spare parts. Williams have no spare suspensions. They have 1 current suspension from the Singapore spec, and then they have a much older suspension from much earlier on in the season, which is a downgrade, a huge downgrade. Colapinto is significantly slower on the old suspension, and then they have no more spare parts. So aim for the Williams drivers, do not crash. Lance Stroll's in 15th. Sonoda is in 14th. Both the Saubers are in 12th and 13th position. Hopefully they can score some points today. That would be brilliant for them. Then we've got Gasly in 11th. He's had a fantastic run of form ever since Brazil, and we'll wait and see if he can score some points today as well. K-Mag up in 10th, managing to get that Haas through into Q3. Sergio Perez in 9th after doing a lot of testing work for Red Bull in the sprint race, has managed to bring himself up into Q3 as well. And now we are getting underway for the formation lap. As you can see from the team radios on the right, 30 seconds till we get underway for the formation lap. We've got Fernando Alonso in 8th place, who's very, very happy with the performance that he delivered yesterday in quali. And then we have Sainz in 7th, Hamilton in 6th. Charles Leclerc in 5th. Both Leclerc and Hamilton had some fantastic racing yesterday. They'll be teammates next year, and we'll wait and see how they get off the line. We have Lando Norris and Piastri, both McLarens, locking out the second row. Max Verstappen, who originally got pole position, demoted down into second place. And then we have George Russell, who will be leading the race from the clean side of the grid. If a driver has an odd number as their starting grid position, they will be on the clean side of the grid, like Russell and Norris and Leclerc. If they have an even number, they'll be on the dirty side of the grid. Verstappen, Piastri, Hamilton, they're all on the dirty side, and they'll have to be careful when they are releasing the clutch and getting that power down. The predicted race strategy today will be start the race on the medium tyres, go to around lap number 22, and then put the hard tyres on till the end of the race. Or you can do a stint on the mediums and then 2 stints on the hards. We are underway for the formation lap. Everyone now just weaving about and building up that tyre temperature for the start of the race. All right. The fastest pit stop this season has come from Red Bull. If they're going to pull off a two-stop strategy today, they're going to need super quick pit stops because the drivers already lose 26 seconds in the pit lane when they come into the pits, and then 26 seconds plus whatever they come plus however long their pit stop is. So we shall see. We shall see what will happen. The Lusail International Racing Circuit opened in 2004. They are currently celebrating their 20th year of international racing. And let's wait and see if they can produce a spectacular race for us today. All right, here we go, folks. Let me know who will be leading into turn number one. Will it be George Russell? Will it be Max Verstappen? Are they going to have some contact? Will Russell be over the radio saying, he turned in on me? I would not be too surprised if that did happen. Here we go. Not long now. Penultimate race of the season. It's the formation lap as of now. George Russell just lining up on his grid position there, and soon enough we'll be racing. All right, 16,000 people tuned into live stream. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Hope you are enjoying the coverage. If you haven't hit the like button already, be sure to do so. It hugely helps out the channel. If you haven't subscribed, hopefully we can hit 120k. And if you haven't got an F1 TV membership and you would like to get one, there's a link in the description. And yeah, it will be valid. If you get the yearly membership, it will be valid till the end of the next season next year as well. You'll get access to all of the data, all of the commentary, and all of the onboard footage. So that is that, and George Russell's lined up to his grid position, so is Max Verstappen, and the remaining 18 drivers are approaching the grid. All right, they've just come over the radio to Piastri to say a conservative drop. Basically, they're saying drop your clutch very conservatively, because you are on the dirty side of the grid, and because you're on the dirty side of the grid, you're going to you're not going to get as much traction as you would like. So they've told him to be careful. The last car is approaching the grid now, and here we go. Esteban Ocon has lined up on the grid. The medical car is lined up as well. We have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 laps, and it is 5 lights, and it is lights out, and away we go. George Russell gets a great start. Now heading down towards turn number 1, we've got... Oh my god, what's gone on there? No, everything's... I don't know why the data's just done that. We've got Max Verstappen leading into turn number 1. Piastri's to the inside. Norris has gone up into first place. What a start by Lando Norris. We've got a yellow flag at the back. Verstappen holds the lead going through into turn number 3. Great start there from Max Verstappen. And Russell loses 2 places off the race start. Norris tries to go around the outside of Verstappen, but Verstappen defends very nicely there. Ocon has gone slowly. Ocon and Colapinto have had a crash. Is that a big crash for Colapinto? I don't know what's going on there, because there's more dust and being kicked up, and double yellows are being waved. Piastri up into 5th now. He gets ahead of Carlos Sainz on the opening lap, but they've surely got to deploy a safety car. Yes, they have. Safety car is out, and we have got... safety car's out. Ocon and Colapinto have had a crash. Hopefully it's not a big one, because Williams don't have enough spare parts. It's not a big crash whatsoever, but both drivers are out of the race. And that is, that's been a bit of an anticlimactic start. All right, it's the actual safety car is out. Positions gained and positions lost. If we have a look at this, George Russell has lost 2 positions. Hamilton lost 3 as well. Both Mercedes getting a bit of a slow start there. I don't know if they had some mistakes in their clutch settings or something. But yeah, both drivers losing out positions. And then who else has lost places? Zhou's lost 3 places. Tsunoda up 4. He had a fantastic start, and Verstappen as well. He managed to... Norris was about to sneak through into first place, but Verstappen just squeezed him out as they were going through turn number 3. A fantastic corner there from Max, and well, that's why he's in P1 right now. All right. Yeah. It's going to take them a little bit to clear up the both of the cars. The marshals are out onto the circuit now. They're going to have to pick up a bit of the debris. There's one crane already out. There's two cranes already out. In fact, the marshals are really on it this weekend. We've got two cranes already out at turn number one. They've picked up Ocon and Colapinto's car, and the safety car should only be out for another 2 or 3 laps. Yeah, if we have a look at the race start, what happened was that Verstappen got a fantastic race start, better launch than George Russell, but then he got too busy trying to overtake Russell that he totally forgot that Norris had came down his inside. However, he realised soon enough and then, drove a very nice racing line through turn number 2 and just, got better traction than Norris through 2 and... that was that. Oh, there was a pretty big contact there between Hülkenberg, Ocon, and Colapinto. Hülkenberg managed to drive back with a puncture. He had a huge puncture, left rear puncture. So we just got the replay here from Esteban Ocon. Let's describe what has happened. They're going into turn number 1. Hülkenberg is ahead of him to his right. Ocon brakes pretty late. But they seem to just coalesce. I don't know what's happened here. Ocon's both his front and right suspension have been damaged. Colapinto broke his front left suspension. Hülkenberg broke his front right. But I don't think it was particularly any of theirs fault. I think Hülkenberg kind of misjudged his braking point and drifted out wide. But I don't know. Slightly odd. Albon as well. Oh, Albon got... contact, massively hit by Stroll. Oh, it's not a surprise there. But yeah, Albon got hit by Stroll. And he said, I could tell he was about to do it. I knew he was going to do it. I could tell. And let's see what Stroll did. He just pushes out Esteban. He pushes out Albon. Albon leaves him enough room, but Stroll just couldn't drive within the space that he was given. Has contact with Albon. Albon spins, but it looks to be continuing on fine. The rear suspension of the car is typically a lot more tough than the front suspension because, of course, the front suspension has to be slightly flexible to move around and steer the car, but the rear suspension doesn't have to do that. So yeah, it's a lot more structurally sound. Joe even comes over the radio saying, "What the F is this Aston doing?" And well, yeah, I think that describes it pretty well. It was definitely Lance Stroll's fault there. He came into the pits, has got a fresh set of hard tyres. All right. Still under safety car conditions for now, and yeah, shouldn't be long now till we get underway for some racing. All right, folks, we've got 20,000 people tuned in. Thank you everyone for tuning in. If you haven't subscribed, be sure to do so. And yeah, we should be underway for racing very, very shortly. They've just come over the radio to Ghazi saying, we think the track's getting clear. And they've said, Nico, track is clear. So, all right, it's likely to be one more lap is what they've said to Hamilton. They've come over the radio to George saying brake magic is available. Of course, brake magic is the thing that, heats up your brakes, essentially. What it does is you drive with your accelerator and the brake at the same time. And obviously, you're not meant to do that, but they do that so they can warm up the brakes and heat up the tyre from the inside. Because, of course, when you're driving around, you're heating up the tyre from the outside, but the brakes can heat up the tyre from the inside, which is pretty interesting. And yeah, so they'll be using a bit of brake magic on George Russell's car and Lewis Hamilton's car to keep those temperatures up on the front. Okay, here we go. The incident between Ocon, Hülkenberg and Colapinto has been noted, but I think it's a turn 1, lap 1 collision. I don't think many penalties, if any, are going to be given out there. So, yeah, that'll be fine. All right. Yeah, here we go then. Let's wait and see. We should have a safety car restart this lap. Okay. Yeah, safety car is in this lap, folks. We've just got the messages over the race control. Safety car in this lap. So the safety car well, Verstappen will start slowing down. He'll start building a gap to the safety car. And we're about to get underway for the race restart here. Nico Hulkenberg's got the fastest lap of the race. I think that's sealed the deal. Hulkenberg will be getting that 1 point for fastest lap. Yeah, no, Hulkenberg's only got that because he came into the pits and then drove around pretty quick to get to the back of the pack. And yeah, so here we go then. Safety car restart is happening. What happened to Colapinto? He damaged his suspension. Oh my god, yeah, he's damaged his suspension. I think he damaged his rear suspension rather than his front suspension, I think. So he should be fine. But yeah, not ideal there for Franco Colapinto, given that he's only got one suspension spare. I think if he has another crash in Abu Dhabi, they might just say, oh, we're just not going to race in the final race of the season. We just don't have the spare parts, and there's no point. Who knows? The reason they're warming their core is because the core temperature sticks around longer than the surface. That gets eaten away by the wind speed. Yeah, that's very true. But yeah, obviously it's very important to have the inside and the outside of the tyre warmed up. And here comes Max Verstappen. The safety car has pulled into the pit lane. Verstappen is weaving left, right. The green flag is out. The safety car is in. Verstappen is now the driver that decides when they're going to go racing. Is it going to be now? Is it going to be in a couple of seconds? Verstappen's gone, and he goes just before the final corner. He catches Lando Norris napping a little bit, and he's built up a healthy lead. Russell is going to be a much, much bigger concern for Lando Norris, and Piastri is going to be a huge concern for Charles Leclerc. Going into turn 1, Leclerc goes defensive, Piastri to the outside. Leclerc loses the position. Piastri sends one down the inside. Great move there by Piastri. Overtake done on the safety car restart, and brilliant job. All right, and we've got another yellow flag, Sector 1. Someone's going slowly. Liam Lawson, it looks like he's had a spin, and he's off the back there. But once again, it's green flag conditions, and we can continue onwards. All right. Good restart there from Max Verstappen. DRS will be enabled in 2 laps time, and then we'll get the cars racing under DRS. But Verstappen's number one aim now is to break DRS to Lando Norris and run away with the race exactly like he would have done last year when we were at Qatar. I think Verstappen won by a solid 6, 7, 8 seconds last year. He broke DRS and then he was never seen again. So let's wait and see if he can do that. All right, Charles lost a position to Piastri. Both McLarens now ahead of both Ferraris. The championship may be over if it continues on this way. Magnussen goes up into 10th. He gets ahead of Alonso. Alonso was great in quali, but unfortunately that pace hasn't translated to the race just yet. And Max Verstappen with the fastest lap of the race, so 1:26.7, and he is 3 tenths quicker than Lando Norris. DRS has been enabled. However, it's only available to use on the following lap. So we'll get the drivers racing with DRS on the next lap. So the aim now is to use all of your battery, use every last bit of energy that you can to try and get within the DRS of the driver ahead of you. Russell has not got DRS on Norris. Norris has not got DRS on Verstappen. However, Piastri does have DRS on Russell. And guess what? The 2 Ferrari drivers have DRS on each other. This one's going to be fun. After last weekend where Carlos Sainz didn't listen to the team agreement that they had before the race and overtook Leclerc after the pit stops, I'm sure Leclerc is not going to be listening to any sort of team radios, and he's going to be racing his teammates very, very hard. And that'll be fun to watch, won't it? All right. Alonso's come over the radio saying, man, the speed on the straight is worrying. So it looks like Alonso's got a GP2 engine, just like he had all those years ago with McLaren Honda. And yeah, not enough top speed. He's in fact been overtaken by Pierre Gasly in the Alpine, which is 15 horsepower down compared to the Mercedes engine. The Aston Martin just has so much drag that he loses out on the straight. All right. Verstappen has broken DRS to Norris, and Norris has broken DRS to Russell, but Russell has not broken DRS to Piastri. And Piastri's gaining down the straights here, so this is going to be a very, very nice battle between these two drivers. And the Ferrari drivers as well, they have DRS on each other. Lawson overtakes Stroll, nicely done there, and looks like Stroll's also struggling for top speed. Lawson gets a nice easy overtake done. He's on mediums, Stroll's on hards, wasn't too difficult there. Fastest lap of the race from Max Verstappen, a 1:26.5. Right, it's honestly time to count. This is 2 fastest laps of the race from Max Verstappen at this point. We'll wait and see how many more fastest laps that we get from him. Yeah. All right. Here we go then. Yeah, this circuit, honestly, normally I don't want to talk too negatively about Formula One circuits and if they're good or bad, but this circuit is probably one of the worst on the calendar. I mean, Monaco at least has the history and the heritage, and it's interesting because the walls are so close to each other. But here, there's no elevation change, there's no camber change, there's no sharp corners, there's only one DRS zone. It's not the best circuit, but it produced some all-right racing between Leclerc and Hamilton yesterday. Hopefully it can produce some all-right racing between Piastri and Russell. Another fastest lap of the race here from Max Verstappen. We've got a third fastest lap of the race from Max Verstappen. We've got a 10-second time penalty for Lance Stroll for causing a collision. I think that's fairly deserved. Stroll was given more than enough space by Alex Albon and just crashed into him. So that's a 10-second penalty for Stroll. Alonso's got a lap time deleted for exceeding track limits at turn 13. And yeah, I think Alonso is just trying to compensate for the fact that he's got far too little speed on the straights by pushing far too hard in the corners. And that's going to result in, well, exceeding track limits. All right. Stroll is retiring. Is he retiring? No. Oh, he's come into... Oh, they said... a graphic came up on the screen saying Stroll was retired on lap number 7. However, he came in for a pit stop. I think he came in to serve his 10-second penalty and then put on a set of hards and try to go to the end of this race. I think that's the strategy now. Serve your 10-second penalty, put on a fresh set of hard tyres, and now go all the way out till the end of the race. We'll see if he can make it 50 laps. I think he's going to need a safety car or two if he's going to make it to that. But yeah, also another fastest lap of the race here from Max Verstappen. We're going to go to 4 now. Honestly, I'm going to put it up on the screen because I think we're going to get another one of those max dominations. So let's get it from grid penalties to max fast lap count. FL. Oh no, not DL. F. Oh, what am I doing? I can't see my keyboard. FL count. Right, 4. 4 fastest laps from Max Verstappen. Yeah, and there's a mistake here from Lando Norris as well. Norris was trying to catch up to Max Verstappen, ended up touching the gravel ever so slightly. This is one good thing about the circuit. On the exit curbs, on the outside of exit curbs, there is a big bunch of gravel, which means that if the drivers do go slightly wide, then they get hit with a bunch of gravel, they lose a bit of time, and, then they get punished for exceeding track limits. So I think that's good. Oh, Lewis Hamilton has been noted for a false start. Interesting there. So we'll see what happens there. Alonso's been noted for rejoining unsafely. I don't think that much of that's going to happen. I don't think it was really that unsafe of a rejoin. Oh, what do you know? Verstappen's now crossed the line again, and he's set another fastest lap. Right, I'm going to spend half of the time this stream just increasing the lap count, the number count on Max's fastest laps. But Hamilton immediately, he came over the radio, said, sorry about that, guys. Hamilton knew that he jumped the start, and the first thing he said was over the radio, sorry. So I think that's a slam dunk 5-second time penalty for jumping the start there for Lewis Hamilton. And they have actually retired the car of Lance Stroll. So yeah, I guess they just totally abandoned the idea of going out and continuing. So Stroll, after his 10-second time penalty, has retired from the race. Oh well. Oh well, that's all right. I would say F in the chats, but it's Lance Stroll, so. Um, all right, look at this. Verstappen again, another fastest first sector. Is this man ever going to slow down? He's on medium tyres. You need to conserve the tyres. They're going to go because every single corner here, you're pulling at least 3G. And if you're pulling 3G through on every single corner, your tyres are going to wear out super quickly. But Verstappen is showing no signs of slowing down. He's slower than his personal best in the middle sector, but still quicker than Lando Norris. And now we'll come out the final corner. Is it going to be another fastest lap? Yes, it is. What is happening here? Normally, at other circuits like Monaco, we see the teams go into tyre conservation mode immediately. Clearly, that's not happening this weekend from Max Verstappen. Oh, Lando Norris goes 1 millisecond quicker than Max Verstappen there. Very nice. He's gained 1 millisecond on Max there. He's only got 1,900 milliseconds left to go to gain. Yeah, Norris has set a fastest lap, but that still counts because Verstappen did end up setting a fastest lap. It's just that Norris went slightly quicker. All right. Lap number 11 of 56, and Sainz has got a 10-second time penalty for Lawson for causing a collision. Lawson and Bottas had a collision, and a 10-second time penalty has been given. Okay. Gasly's over the radio saying Tsunoda's moving under braking. Those two drivers have been squabbling away for a bit. Tsunoda's got no DRS, Gasly has, and as a result, Tsunoda's having to pull off some pretty desperate late braking if he wants to hold on to that 10th position. Sainz has started to push here. He's now back within the DRS of his teammate, and we may get some battling between the Ferraris. Piastri as well, he sat in Russell's DRS, but still yet to gain any time. Verstappen, another fastest lap of the race from him, so now that's time to go up to number 7. We're only on lap number 12, and we had the safety car out for about 4 laps, so Verstappen's basically set a fastest lap on every single occasion that he could. How typical. Incredible levels of domination. Okay. Here comes Yuki Tsunoda versus Pierre Gasly. Into turn number 1 they go. Tsunoda's still just enough ahead to keep that lead over Pierre Gasly. And nicely done. All right, Sainz's fastest first sector hasn't really done much. In fact, he's dropped out of DRS of his teammate, and he's improving, but still not enough to get within the DRS of his teammate. It's pretty difficult to overtake around here. The dirty air plays a huge role, especially in all the high-speed corners. In the other circuits, you have a combination of medium speed, high speed, slow speed, but when you have just high-speed corners or medium-speed corners, like here in Qatar, the dirty air is still as strong as it probably was in 2020. All right. I'm going to have a quick sip of water, and the temperature is still the same, 22 degrees track temperature, 19 degrees air temperature, and the wind has died down a little bit, so the gusts aren't as strong. Oh my god, look at that. Verstappen's crossed the line, and it's not a fastest lap of the race. Is Max Verstappen washed? Is the season over? I think his tyres might have started to overheat at this point. But yeah, we've got 24,000 people watching. Thank you everyone for tuning in. If you haven't hit the like button, be sure to do so. And if you haven't subscribed as well, then be sure to do that. I'll be commentating for the for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix at the end of the season as well. Oh, we've got radio from Norris. What is he saying over the radio? Oh, never mind. I totally missed it. Right, let me just have some water. All right. Lewis Hamilton is currently under investigation for a false start, so he'll probably be getting a penalty sometime soon. And yeah. All right. And Verstappen has been setting loads of fastest laps, but the gap between him and Norris really isn't that big. Norris has consistently just been half a tenth, 1/10 slower than him on all of his fastest laps. So Yeah, I think that gap is not going to get that much bigger than 2 seconds. And in fact, Norris is now setting fastest laps. This is the second fastest lap that Norris has set. If he sets two more fastest laps, then I'll put a counter up for the number of fastest laps that Norris has set as well. All right. Yeah, if Norris gets to 4 fastest laps, then he gets a counter as well. Because we're not getting much overtaking in this race. Not a single position has changed in the top 8, I think, since the safety car restart has happened. Piastri overtook Leclerc, and that's been about it. So yeah, we're gonna keep it exciting by counting the number of fastest laps. Hamilton has been given a 5-second time penalty. Oh, Alonso goes round the outside of Liam Lawson, showing him how it's done. And Liam Lawson and Alonso have, oh no, it's Tsunoda. It's not Lawson. Lawson's in 19th, but in 17th. But yeah, nevertheless, a fantastic overtake there from Fernando Alonso, and great to see him fighting. All right. K-Mag is there's no further investigation for Fernando Alonso for leaving the track and gaining an advantage, and K-Mag has been exceeding track limits a little bit, so he's got to keep that under control. Otherwise, 3 track limit extensions, and it will be a 5-second time penalty. Yeah, not a fastest lap from Lando Norris, not a fastest lap from from Max Verstappen. It's a fastest lap from Charles Leclerc instead. All right. I think that's 1 now for Leclerc. Right, let's keep this. Let's keep counting. Okay. Here we go then. We have got a nice little battle brewing between Tsunoda, Zhou, and Bottas. Alonso's managed to get ahead of Tsunoda. Now, Tsunoda is on his way backwards, I think. In fact, Zhou is racing him down into turn 1. Tsunoda goes to the inside, Zhou to the outside. What's it going to be? Zhou, can he swoop round the outside? Fantastic move there. And he's done it even better than Alonso could. And brilliantly done there from Guan Yu Zhou. Zhou overtakes Tsunoda and up into 12th for Guan Yu Zhou. Bottas next up. Tsunoda's just falling further and further back. He had a great quali, but I don't think the Racing Bull is that quick this circuit. So yeah, I don't think he's that quick at this circuit. So we'll wait and see where he ends up. Lawson is in 17th, and he's behind Nico Hulkenberg. And Hulkenberg's on hards. What does FL mean? FL means fastest lap. Yeah, fastest lap. All right, we're on lap number 15 of 57, lap number 16 of 57, in fact. Lando Norris, this is his 3rd fastest lap now. He is gaining ever so slightly on Verstappen. He was, 2/10 quicker on that previous lap. And Piastri, he's still got DRS on Russell. In fact, he's getting very, very close to overtaking Russell now. A lot closer than he was previously. I think Russell must have made a mistake in the final sector for Piastri to close that gap. And let's wait and see. They've just come over the radio to Tsunoda to say push. You should keep pushing, Yuki. And Tsunoda's just come and said, "Oh, I'm pushing 100%." And they just said, "Hang in there." It looks like the V-carb isn't all that. Yeah, it's not looking great for him really. Bottas is gaining down the straight, still not enough to get an overtake done into turn 1 on this lap. Maybe the next lap for him. All right. Why is the text on the leaderboard slightly blurry? It's probably because the YouTubers reduced the setting quality. So if you just click on the settings icon, put it up to the max quality, everything should fix itself. YouTube just reduces the quality sometimes. I don't know why. All right. Max Verstappen, fastest first sector from him. Is he going to set a fastest lap now? Well, let's wait and see. The 2 Ferrari drivers, their gap is built up to now 2 seconds. I think they've gone into tyre conservation mode here. Their medium tyres are probably not going to last as long as they would have liked because they were within DRS of each other. Is that a fastest lap for either of them? I think that's Norris with the fastest lap there. Right, Norris has set a fastest lap, I think. Yeah. All right, so that's 4 fastest laps for Norris. It's time to add him onto the counter. Norris. Norris FL. 4 fastest laps for Lando Norris. Very, very nice. Okay. What does Ferrari radius switch position yellow mean? Honestly, I don't know all of the switch positions. I know a couple of switch positions here and there, but honestly, they're just changing a couple of settings for the differential, most likely, or they're just disabling some sensors, and yeah. All right, we had Piastri. Piastri was getting pretty close to George Russell, but then just coming out the final corner, he got quite a big snap of oversteer, and he was within DRS. Now the gap is 1.5 seconds, so he's got to put a lot of hard work in just to chase him back down. And yeah, a little bit unfortunate there for Piastri. The mistake's starting to creep in, surely, slowly now. All right, Leclerc's come over the radio saying, let's check pressures, tyre pressures. The way I drive, a puncture is lightly. And Leclerc's just come over the radio. The engineers come over the radio saying the pressures are looking good. A fastest lap here from Lando Norris. So it's now 5 fastest laps for Lando Norris, 7 for Max Verstappen. All right. Oh, did Max set a fastest lap as well? Both of them did. Okay. Whoops, just missed that. Apology. Thank you for letting me know. Right, 8-5 it is. Who's going to end up? Who's going to win the race with the most fastest laps? All right. Valtteri Bottas still stuck behind Yuki Tsunoda here. His teammate has run off a little bit into the distance, but Bottas struggling to overtake Tsunoda. Even though his final sectors are pretty good, Tsunoda just manages to eke out a bit of a gap. And is able to defend. All right. Yeah, lap number 18 of 57. Look at this, fastest first sector from that Max, fastest second sector from him as well, and Lando Norris takes that away. But the drivers are approaching their pit stop window now. The medium tyres should last between lap number 22. They should be pitting between lap number 19 and 25. However, because the safety car was out for the first 4 laps, they could probably push that to lap number 27, 28 before they come into the pit. So that's the fastest lap there for Max Verstappen. Lando Norris is not quicker, so Max goes up into 9, Norris to 5, and yeah. All right. All right, we've got 23,000 people tuning in. Thank you everyone for tuning in. I hope you guys are enjoying the coverage. And yeah, albeit we're making this slightly boring race a little bit more interesting by seeing who's going to have more fastest laps. Let me know what your predictions are by the end of the race. Who's going to have the most number of fastest laps? Will it be Max? Will it be Norris? We've got one of the Alpines. It's Pierre Gasly trying to overtake K-Mag here for 9th position, looking very, very racy indeed, using all of the track to his advantage. Is Oscar Piastri. Oscar Piastri is Pierre Gasly. How I mixed those two drivers up, they're not even next to each other. Yeah, Gasly's pushing pretty hard in that pink Alpine, but K-Mag's got the pace in the Haas. The Haas is looking very quick in the sprint race as well. Hülkenberg was managing to hold off Verstappen, and then K-Mag now in 9th position, managed to just hang in there. Quickest is best of the rest, really. If you consider the top 4 teams the best teams, then Hülkenberg is best of the rest. Both drivers come across the line. No fastest laps for either of them, and interesting. All right, they've come over the radio to Plan A. Plan A, we're sticking to Plan A. How's the front wing? We have no understeer. Piastri says we have no understeer. That makes sense because he had a pretty big snap of oversteer 2 laps ago. So yeah, that lines up. So they're going for Plan A, which I think will be a one-stop strategy, just because they're going to lose a lot less time in the pits due to doing only 1 stop rather than 2. Yeah. All right. Norris as well. He comes over the radio saying, I feel like I'm killing the tyres. He says he's pushing flat out. He feels like he's killing the tyres, but they feel okay as well. So it's a little bit strange here. The drivers are pushing super hard. Bottas manages to get ahead of Tsunoda. Very nicely done as well. He was stuck behind him for a couple of laps, but manages to get the overtake done, and Tsunoda now drops down into 14th place. The Saubers are only 2 places. Zhou is 2 places away from the points. Could this be the weekend that they go and score some points? All right. K-Mag, last points of his career. Yeah, K-Mag is looking to go into endurance racing. In fact, Kevin Magnussen's dad made his name in endurance racing. And a fastest lap of the race there from Max Verstappen. So that goes up into 10 for Max, 5 for Norris. But yes, Kevin Magnussen's dad made his name for himself in endurance racing. So it'll be nice to see Kevin Magnussen follow his father's footsteps and do some endurance racing as well. Norris has 6. Okay. For whatever reason, people are saying Norris is 6. I think I must have missed it. But I guess Lando Norris is 6. All right. Yeah, it's pretty difficult to keep on track of all of these things while I'm commentating the rest of the race as well. FL is fastest laps. 5 by my count. Okay, no, I'm gonna trust MCG. Well, what do the rest of the mods think? Is it 5 or is it 6? I'm pretty sure it's 5. Because I think, yeah, I think it was 5. I don't know who's saying it was 6. Well, there were some people, but it's 5. Okay. Well, some Norris fans are clearly just lying to me in chat. Then, yeah, it was 5. Fair enough. I trust MCG as well. Okie dokes. Well, here they come across the start and finish line. Is it going to be another improvement? It's not an improvement there for either drivers, and not a fastest lap for either driver, actually. Norris does improve on his personal best. Gasly, once again, not Gasly. I mixed up Gasly and Piastri. Piastri within DRS of George Russell now, going into turn number 1. Still 0.6 back, so he's a little bit too far back to do anything, but hopefully on the next lap or so we could see an overtake. All right, we've got not Pierre Gasly, Valtteri Bottas. We've got a replay from him. He's been pushing pretty hard now, trying to catch up to his teammate, but his tyres are going off slowly but surely, and he's ending up just going ever so slightly wide at turn number, which one was it? I think it was 10. Just pushing a little bit too hard and going onto the gravel. Yeah. All right, look at this. Everyone, there's only 2 drivers within a second of each other. It's Piastri within a second of Russell and Albon within a second of Tsunoda. Tsunoda has just been falling backwards and backwards, further and further. Yeah, the V-Carb really hasn't got great race pace. Piastri gets a lap time deleted for exceeding track limits at turn number 16. Yeah, he had a bit of a rear end snap there, and that explains that. And I think I forgot to mention it earlier, but Hamilton, he did end up getting a 5-second time penalty for his false start. So yeah, 5-second time penalty given to Hamilton, and he'll serve that for his pit stop. Lando Norris sets the fastest lap of the race, so that puts him up to 6. And he's caught. Well, the gap is still 1.8 seconds. Whatever happens, both these drivers are pushing so hard. The gap is 1.8 seconds. Oh, here comes Piastri going down the inside of George Russell. Can he get a move done? Oh no, just George Russell turns in a little bit early, and he makes sure. Yeah, just to make sure that Piastri doesn't send one down the inside. Oh, Norris has set a fastest. Oh no, yeah, Norris. I've already written that in. Never mind. All right. Okie dokes. Piastri is really closing in now. So I think even if Russell makes the slightest of mistakes coming out the final corner, then Piastri will be right on him. And yeah, let's wait and see. I think Piastri, did he exceed track limits at the final corner? Oh, he had a pretty big snap of oversteer, and I think that is the reason why he couldn't get the overtake done. He was pretty close. We'll see if he can do it again now. But just look at that gap between the second and third place. 7 seconds is the gap between those two, between Norris and Russell. Verstappen crosses the line, fastest lap for him. Norris comes across the line. Not a fastest lap for him. In fact, both drivers... Yeah, no. So Max is now up into 11. And George Russell is the first driver into the pits. So he's going to try the undercut on... Well, he's not going to try the undercut. He's defending against the undercut, essentially. Now, Piastri will have been told over the radio to go maximum attack and to try and... Well... And to try and ensure that he doesn't get undercut by George Russell. And we'll see if... Piastri pits on the next lap. Verstappen's picked up the pace again, fastest first sector, and a 7-second pit stop there for George Russell. A slow pit stop. What has gone wrong for George Russell? He didn't have a time penalty, and he was trying to pull off the undercut, but a 7-second pit stop has totally ruined his chances. So he pulled into the pit lane, and let's just have a look. Which tyre was it that was causing the issue? It was the rear right tyre. The rear right tyre totally screwed up the pit stop, and George Russell is going to drop back probably. He's going to drop back behind Leclerc and Sainz. That's how big the gap was. So Piastri's not under any threat now from getting overtaken, and very unfortunate there for George Russell. All right, a fastest lap of the race there from, I think it was from both of them, from both Verstappen and Norris. I think if someone could just confirm that, but I'm pretty sure it was from both, so let's just increase both of them, 12 and 7. Is it just 11 and 7? Okay. Sounds good. I'll just listen to my mods because I'm too busy commentating the other half of the race as well. Oh, is it both? Okay, both. Explain the undercut. The undercut is essentially you come into the pits on fresh tires, and because you come into the pits, come out of the pits with fresh tires. The driver who you were racing before you came into the pit lane, they're still on old tires, so you gain time on them because you're on quicker tires. And then when the other driver that you were racing comes into the pits, they come out behind you because they were driving around on old tires and they were going a lot slower compared to you who are on fresh tires. All right, 12-7, very nice. All right, lap number 25 of 57. We should be seeing everyone coming into the pits soon enough because the medium tyres were meant to last They were meant to last towards lap number 25. However, with 4 laps of the safety car, you can extend that out a little bit further. And yeah, lap number 29 is probably the limit when we'll see everyone else coming into the pits. But it seems like the medium tyres are lasting very, very well. So maybe we'll see the drivers go more than half the race on the medium tyres, and then they'll do the other half on hards. All right, but Bottas into the pits as well. So Bottas and Russell have come into the pits, and I think if Hamilton comes into the pits now, he'll come out behind Russell, but if Sainz comes into the pits, he'll come out ahead. So yeah, Russell has lost 2 positions because of that slow pit stop. All right, here we go then. Both drivers don't improve on their previous lap times, and the count stays at 12-7. Yeah. All right. I'll keep you up to date on any track limit deletions as well. We've had a couple of drivers get 2, I think, so far. But yeah, the drivers will be keeping that under control, and the engineers will be telling them don't exceed track limits, otherwise a 5-second penalty will totally ruin everyone's race. Yeah, Russell now trying to overtake Fernando Alonso. We'll see how easy Russell makes that one. But a fastest lap of the race there from Norris and not from Verstappen, and that gap 1.6 seconds now. It's been hovering around 2. It's now down to 1.6, and Lando Norris is up into is getting close to the DRS range of Max Verstappen. Alrighty. Thank you everyone for tuning in, by the way. We've got 25,000 people. That is incredible. And we're getting pretty close to our subscriber target as well. So if we could hit 120k, that'd be brilliant. Yeah. All right, George Russell now coming down the main straight. He's got DRS on Fernando Alonso. What's it going to be? Can he send one to the inside? He is gaining and gaining. He looks to the inside. Alonso's not got enough top speed from that GP2 engine, but he manages to defend against George Russell on this occasion. Russell are just a little bit too far back to get a move done, and Alonso just holds on to 10th position. Yeah, it's not ideal really for George Russell, because of that 7 second pit stop, ideally he would have come out in the gap between Kevin Magnussen and his teammate Lewis Hamilton. There would have been of 3-4 seconds of clean air where he could attack, but now he's stuck in traffic, which is well, really, really annoying. All right, both Verstappen and Norris come across the line. Both drivers don't improve on their fastest lap, and yeah, it looks like the tyres are slowly are wearing out now, especially since they've been pushing pretty hard. Yeah, the fuel loads are of course getting lighter and lighter, but I think the tyres are now the limiting factor, and they're getting worse. We've hit our like target. That is fantastic. Let's knock that up to, why not? Well, let's put it up to 5,000 likes. We've still got half the race left to go. All right. I'm going to have a quick sip of water, folks, and K-Mag comes into the pits. Very nice. This is interesting. Alonso is complaining about the speed on the straights. However, going through the speed traps, Alonso is number one. Alonso has gone through the speed trap at 330 kilometers an hour, and he is currently the fastest through the speed traps. I'm sure that was with DRS and a slipstream, but nonetheless, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just Alonso complaining about the engine, because that's what Alonso loves to do. But yeah, I'm sure with a good enough tow and slipstream, anyone could break the top speed trap during a race. Russell is within striking range, but still unable to get the overtake done. Hamilton losing the rear of the car as he went through turn number 2. Just a huge snap of the rear all over the gravel, and loses a bit of time because of that. Kicks up some gravel onto the road as well, to slow it down for everyone else, just like a banana peel in Mario Kart. But yeah, everyone else is dealing with it just all right. And once again, no fastest laps from the drivers. Okay, we've got Guan Yu Zhou in 11th position. Valtteri Bottas has gone for a bit of an undercut. He came into the pits early. He's going to try and undercut his teammate and potentially just get up into the points. We'll have to wait and see if that can happen. He might need a DNF or two ahead of him, if that's going to... Yeah, you might need a DNF or two ahead of him if he's going to... If the Saubers are going to score some points, but we'll wait and see. Right. What is stop? The stop is the same as DNF. Yeah. Colapinto, Ocon, and Stroll have all DNF'd from the race. Bottas getting lapped. And both drivers, none of them setting fastest laps. And Norris has got DRS, but he's from... Why is there a yellow flag in turn 1? That makes no sense. There's no issues there. Oh no, I don't know what they're doing. They've just gone green flag, yellow flag, green flag, yellow flag. Are they just... someone just click... What are they doing? There's no issues. But they've managed to... It seems like they've cleared everything up now. Yeah. The pit delta here is 26.5 seconds plus however long your pit stop is. So yeah, that's why. So the drivers will lose 26 seconds plus maybe a 2-second pit stop or a 7-second pit stop, whatever it is. There's a tiny bit of debris on the main straight. That's why we've had some flashing of double yellow flags. But I think if they're going to clear that up, they're going to need to deploy the virtual safety car. Yellow flags will not be sufficient. George Russell is gaining. He looks to the inside of Fernando Alonso, but still Alonso breaks late enough that George Russell can do absolutely nothing. Verstappen here, fastest in the middle sector. I think this might be the time when he comes into the pits. There's a wing mirror. Someone's wing mirror is on the circuit. I don't know whose wing mirror it is. Someone's lost a wing mirror. It looks slightly blue. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a Williams, because the Williams car is just falling apart. Like, if they don't have enough screws, then the wing mirror is just fallen off. I think it's Alex Albon's. Yeah, I predicted correctly. It was Alex Albon's. He was just driving down the main straight and it just pops off. yeah, it just pops off his car. So Alex Albon's got no visibility behind him on the right hand side of his car. So he's going to have to use just his left wing mirror to work out where if a driver's trying to overtake him or not, which will be a little bit difficult, but I'm sure he'll cope. And yeah, Max Verstappen looks like he is pushing now. So he'll come into the pits soon enough. And the drivers normally do this. They push very hard right at the very end, wear out their tyres, and then come into the pits. However, Norris, Verstappen is very much under threat of being undercut by Lando Norris. 1.6 seconds is the gap between the two drivers. If Norris pits early, then Verstappen will get undercut, and it's the fastest first sector from Verstappen, fastest second sector. I mean, if he's still got pace in his tyres, then why not? Continue pushing, but given the threat of an undercut, it would be wise to come into the pits on this lap. All right, let's see what they're saying over the radio. Fastest lap of the race there from Max Verstappen. He doesn't come into the pits. So let's increase that counter to number 13 there for Max Verstappen. Yeah, I'm not sure why McLaren aren't pulling Verstappen into the pits. Why they aren't not pulling Norris into the pits, because this is prime opportunity to overtake Max Verstappen. His tyres still have some pace in them, but fresh hard tyres will have a lot more pace. Why don't they deploy the virtual safety car? It's because the wing mirror isn't really that big of a concern. It'll kind of just get blown away and nobody's really going to drive over it. I guess that's what their thought process is. I'm not sure if that's true or not, because I think if someone's going for an overtake, they may drive over the wing mirror, and that's either a puncture or I don't know what that would be. Puncture, yeah, it'd probably be a puncture. The wing mirrors are made out of carbon or glass, and well, yeah, that's going to puncture your tyre for sure. All right, Hülkenberg dives into the pit lane as well. He's done 29 laps on his hard tyres. His pace wasn't that amazing on the hard tyres. I think that's the reason why everyone is sticking out on the mediums for as long as they possibly can, because the hards don't look that amazing. They would have been better in high temperature conditions, but given the track temperature is 22 degrees, it's not exactly high temperature. So medium tyres it is for Nico Hülkenberg as he comes out of the pit lane. All right, we're getting pretty close to 120,000 subs, folks. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, be sure to do so. And if you'd like to type in chat, you also do have to subscribe. You only have to subscribe for 1 minute, and then YouTube will allow you to type in chat. But yeah, go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. Right, Lando Norris, what is he saying over the radio? No, we've just got a couple of replays here from Lando Norris, not really pushing all that hard, just trying to get within DRS range. And look at that gap, 2.5 seconds. He's made a bit of a mistake somewhere. In the first sector, he loses half a second, and not ideal, really. And that undercut threat has dramatically reduced now. And look at that. It's Nico Hülkenberg, fastest middle sector from him on a fresh set of mediums. So yeah, the medium tyres do have pace, but of course the drivers can't do 2 stints on the mediums. They're going to have to do at least 1 stint on the hards. So we'll see what happens. Right. What have you missed so far? So far there was an incident between Stroll, Ocon. Oh no, there was an incident between Stroll and Albon. Stroll got a 10-second penalty, retired from the race. Ocon, Colapinto, and Hülkenberg crashed at the start of the race. Ocon and Colapinto DNF'd. Hamilton jumped the race start. Russell had a terribly slow pit stop, and Verstappen got the lead into turn number 1 and has set 13 fastest laps. Norris has set 8 fastest laps, and that's probably a pretty good summary of the race. Oh, is it 14-18 now? Okay. Oh yeah, I just missed that. Yeah, Verstappen has just set fastest lap. Once again, improving. Somehow he's setting fastest laps. 33 lap old medium tyres, and the man is still able to set fastest laps of the race. I mean, where is this pace coming from? Wow. Why can't they do double medium? Firstly, because they don't have 2 sets of medium tyres, and secondly, because the rules for a race say that you must use at least 2 different tyre compounds. Oh, I know what Aston Martin are doing. Oh, is that Hamilton's car? Hamilton's got a puncture. Hamilton has got a puncture. He's going slowly. The car is sparking away, and he gets the puncture as he's going down the main straight. So he's got a long, long lap left to go, but Hamilton's going slowly now. Puncture for him. He's done, 33 laps on his medium tyres. Everyone looking at that right now is going to be like, time to come into the pits, because we do not want a puncture. His car is sparking away. He's doing exactly what Lightning McQueen did in his first ever race in Cars 1. Except that he's not going for the race win. Piastri immediately into the pits. Oh, there's another puncture. Sainz has got a puncture. Sainz is going slowly. What is going on here? 2 punctures on the exact same lap. Right, I think Leclerc was right when he said, if I continue driving like this, I'm going to get a puncture. And how Piastri's into the pits. Everyone else has got to come into the pits at this point. Sainz is already into the pit lane. He's going to lose a bit of time because of that. And Hamilton is losing time. He's down into 11th. Zhou up into 10th place there. Oh my god. I don't think they're going to do a virtual safety car. Because Sainz has made it into the pits and Hamilton is about to make it into the pits as well. Box is the message to Max Verstappen. They do not want a puncture. In fact, the ideal thing to do right now is to slow down and make sure you don't get a puncture, because otherwise, if you do get a puncture, then Verstappen will get easily overtaken by Lando Norris. And okay, wow. George Russell has started to pick up the pace now. Safety car's been deployed. There's so much debris on the circuit. Right, oh, this is really going to help out. Anyone that pits now is going to lose so much less time. Verstappen's into the pits. Norris is into the pits. Who else is going to come into the pits then? Leclerc will dive in, so will Perez and they'll do a double stack. Verstappen and Perez are very far apart. Everyone's going to come into the pits now, and the drivers are going to save 11 seconds. And Hamilton's just come over the radio saying, trust me to have this. Look, Hamilton just feels so hard done by here. He's had a terrible race, terrible season really at Mercedes. He can't serve his 10-second penalty, his 5-second penalty. Oh no, he can actually. He serves his 5-second penalty under the safety car. I don't know if you're allowed to do that, but he's done it anyway. And he gets his pit stop done. He gets his tyres changed. Charles Leclerc gets his pit stop done as well, and everyone is going to be bunched up again, and we're going to have another safety car restart with Verstappen in first, Norris in second, Leclerc in third, because, well, he pitted under the safety car. The others pitted slightly earlier. Perez is up into fourth. He's into the pits as well. I think he'll come out in fifth or sixth, maybe, depends on how quickly the safety car delta is. 2.2 second pit stop for Sergio Perez. Is making his way out of the pits. It's going to be 5th place for him as he comes out of the pit lane. Russell dives into the pits. Why has Russell come into the pits? He's done 11 laps on the hards. Russell, I think, has another set of mediums. So Russell could put on a set of mediums and be so much quicker for the final. Does Russell have another set? Yes, he does. Oh, but they're giving him another set of hards. Okay, they're just giving him fresh hard tyres. I guess if he's not losing any positions, he might as well. All right, we could see here Guan Yu Zhou is in 9th place. Scientists are going to overtake him, but that's still going to put Guan Yu Zhou in 10th. And that could mean Sauber potentially scoring points here. If Zhou scores 10th position, he's definitely getting my vote for driver of the day. No matter whatever happens at the top. Verstappen can set 14 fastest laps, but Zhou's still getting my vote for driver of the day. Wow. All right, this is really spiced things up here, because this race was kind of boring. At one point, we were just counting the number of fastest laps. The safety car on this lap is going to drive through the pit lane because there is so much debris coming down the main straight. That's where Hamilton got his puncture, and that's where Albon's wing mirror was deposited. So because of that, they're going to have to clean up all of the debris. So all of the cars will be driving through the pit lane on this lap. So it'll look like on the timing screen, it'll say that they've done an extra pit stop than what they've actually done, but it doesn't matter. Albon puts on a set of soft tyres. I don't know why he has done that, because as proven by Guan Yu Zhou in yesterday's sprint race, the soft tyres do not last 19 laps, and there are 21 laps left of this race. So I don't know what Williams are cooking, but that's just that's a recipe for a puncture for a team that has not enough spare parts. I don't know why they put on the softs, because it's very likely going to mean a puncture if he goes all the way to the end of this race. Yeah. I think Albon has also done impromptu weight reduction. Like, his car was probably right on the weight limit, and then now his wing mirror's broken off. It's going to be half a kilogram lighter. Hamilton had quite a bit of his floor, I think, ruined by the fact that he had a puncture. So he's going to have weight reduction, but a terrible floor, so not enough downforce for Lewis Hamilton. That's not going to be ideal. It's showing that everyone's coming into the pit lane because there is debris on the main straight. So there's marshals on the main straight clearing all of the debris up, and that is why everyone's driving through the pit lane. FL means fastest lap. So Max has got 14 of them, Norris has got 8. But we are currently under the safety car conditions, and Russell, Sainz make their way around, and everyone will be bunching up very, very soon. But the order is Verstappen, Norris, Leclerc, Piastri, Perez, Gasly, Russell, Sainz, Zhou in 9th position, Alonso in 10th. I think someone pitted. I think it was K-Mag. Was it K-Mag? I don't know who pitted, but Zhou's in 9th rather than 10th. And this could be potential points. All right. Why did the safety car come out? The safety car came out because there was debris from from Albon's wing mirror, Lewis Hamilton's punctured car, and Sainz's punctured car. So there was quite a lot of just carbon fiber bits strewn around everywhere, and that would just lead to even more punctures because, yeah, a tiny piece of carbon fiber will just get into the tire, cause a little hole, and there you have it, a puncture. All right. Yeah. Here we go then. Why can't Hamilton and Bottas unlap themselves? It's because the FIA haven't said so. The FIA have to give the official message to say you are allowed to unlap yourselves, and then the unlapping begins. But if the FIA haven't said that, then they're not allowed. Alonso gets released into the path of Kevin Magnussen. K-Mag over the radio, just questioning what's going on there. And who gets the position? Is it Alonso that gets the position? Is it K-Mag? Alonso has taken the position. We don't know if he is properly meant to get it, but yeah, safety car once again driving through the pit lane. And the marshals are still cleaning up the debris on the circuit. All right. Unlapping is the process. Essentially, so the drivers of Hamilton and Bottas, they're both lapped in this race. And what they can do is if the FIA say so, they can drive past Verstappen and safety car and make their way all the way around to the back of the grid, and essentially unlap themselves and put them back onto the lead lap. They're not pitting, folks. Nobody is pitting. Everyone is just going out on the... Everyone's they're just driving through the pit lane, because that's what the safety car is doing as well. All right, lapped cars have been told that they can overtake. They've just said that from race control. So Hamilton and Bottas are now allowed to overtake Norris and Verstappen and the safety car. They'll overtake them, and then they'll rejoin right at the back of the pack behind Liam Lawson. Norris comes over the radio saying that that Hamilton has brake tested him while coming into the pits, and that gives Norris an ever so slight flat spot on his tyres. I mean, it's not going to help, but it's not going to impact him that much either. Yeah, now Norris has got Max Verstappen ahead of him, who will play lots of games, I'm sure. But Verstappen doing another safety car restart. He did one at the start of this race, managed to keep the lead. Yeah, all right, the safety car is now going to use the start-finish straight. They're not going to drive through the pits. And all right, so if we have a look at the tyre information, this is interesting here. Alonso, that's what Alonso did. Alonso was the driver that came into the pits. Very big brain strategy here from Aston Martin. So the rule from the FIA stipulates that you must use at least 2 tyre compounds in the race. So Alonso did his first stint on medium tyres, came into the pits for hard tyres while the safety car was out, and then while the safety car was out, came into the pits again, switched off the hard tyres and onto a set of medium tyres. So Alonso now, out of the top 10, is the only driver on mediums. The mediums are significantly faster than the hards. There's only 19 laps left to go of this race, so they'll definitely last till the end of this race, and that could be that's going to be a significant advantage there for Alonso. He may even be able to compete with Sainz and Russell, because they may have quicker cars, but they're on slower tyres. So yeah, very good strategy there from Aston Martin. Quick thinking. And because they weren't going to lose that many places by coming in for a second pit stop, they decided, oh, well, we might as well come in for a second pit stop. We'll come out behind of Zhou instead of ahead of him. And, yeah. All right. Safety car is in this lap. The original reason for the safety car was there was so much debris from Hamilton and Sainz's punctures. And they cleared all of that up. And now we're going to go racing at the end of this lap then. All right. Albon's on softs. I don't know what he's doing. They're not on 3 softs. Because they drive through the pit lane, the tyre information updates as they drive through, because technically, well, most of the time, when the drivers go into the pits, they go in to change tyres. So the data is set up in a way that when they drive through the pit lane, it updates what tyres they have. And yeah, that's why it says that Albon's got 3 softs and everyone's got, multiple tyres, multiple hard tyres, even though it's just the same hard tyre that they're using. All right. Thank you for the donation, Medijig. You have jinxed the race, my friend. Well, I don't know exactly what did I say the race was going to be boring and then it's not been boring. I think that's a good jinx. No, I should say that more often. The race is going to be boring and then it turns out that we get this fantastic action. Yeah. All right. But this is it, folks. Safety car is in this lap. Who's that? Why has Perez dropped 11 places? Perez has stopped. What? Perez has stopped on the side of the track. Is that his GPS broken, or is that Perez going slowly, or is he stopped? Oh, Perez is not driving. Perez has got some issue for his engine. But the green flag is out anyway. Max Verstappen is going very, very slowly. And he jumps and he gets a huge bit of oversteer as he gets onto the power. And that's a huge giveaway to Lando Norris, who's getting onto the power. Going into turn number 1, they're side by side. Norris on the outside, Verstappen on the inside. They go into turn number 1. Is there contact? Ever so slightly there is. And Verstappen still holds the lead into turn 1, and Leclerc gets ahead of Piastri. Great overtake there from Charles Leclerc, and Piastri once again stuck behind Charles. Going into turn number 4, Verstappen holds a 7/10 advantage over Lando Norris. Great driving there from Verstappen. He was super duper late on the brakes and managed to hold him off. And yellow flag is out because Sergio Perez is stopped on the side of the circuit. Sainz has lost the position to Gasly. Gasly goes round the outside of Sainz and manages to just hold on as they go through the middle sector. Yellow flags out again. Is this going to be another safety car? Because Sergio Perez is driving slowly. In fact, he's stopped on the side of the circuit. It should just be a virtual safety car, maybe just a yellow flag. I'm not sure. It depends where he is. And a virtual safety car it is. The race has been neutralized. And there we go. Oh, someone's in the gravel trap. Nico Hulkenberg's in the gravel trap. All right. Well, that might be a full safety car then. I mean, the action just doesn't stop. Full safety car. We've got the 3rd safety car of the race here, folks. Sergio Perez with an engine issue. He DNFs from the race. And Nico Hulkenberg stuck in the gravel trap on the entry to turn number 10. And he also is DNFing from this race. Look at this. Guan Yu Zhou is in 9th position, folks. Guan Yu Zhou is in 9th position. And this could be potential points for Sauber. Ignore the fact that there needs to be 5 DNFs for Sauber to score points. Just be happy that Sauber may score some points. All right. Here we go then. Sonoda comes into the pits. Lawson into the pits. I think they're pitting for medium tyres. I'm not 100% certain. But we'll wait and see. Right, what is going on with this race, guys? Okay, so I think they've got a crane out. Oh, both they're double stacking at VCARB soft tires. Oh, I mean, this is a bold choice here. 17 laps left of this race, and they're going to say soft tires for the for Sonoda. What's Lawson coming out on? Lawson is also coming out on softs. Both drivers are coming out on softs. They're just going to risk it now. They might as well. They've got nothing to lose. And let's see what happens. Did anyone keep a set of softs? I think most drivers do have one set of softs. Any of the drivers that didn't make it through into Q3 will definitely get it into softs. Oh, wait, Sergio Perez. It wasn't even an engine issue. Sergio Perez spun the car. And wait. What, did Sergio Perez spin under the virtual safety car? I thought it was an engine issue, and it was. Like, he couldn't get the car into drive. But the reason he couldn't get the car into drive was because what? Sergio Perez spun under virtual safety car conditions. Pierre Gasly had a huge lockup going to turn number 1. That dropped him down a couple of places. But let me just get the replay again. I don't know why they're not showing us the replay. I mean, they're showing us the battle between Leclerc and Piastri and Verstappen and Norris, so fair enough. But Russell was trying to overtake Pierre Gasly into turn number 1, and Piastri just had a huge lockup, went straight on, but managed to not hit anyone. Right. Can we... they're still not showing us the replay of what happened to Sergio Perez. It would be very nice to see what's happened there. But yeah, he spun, and then the car basically came to a stop. He had to restart the engine, and it just wasn't going into drive again. Some sort of issue, I guess, with the gearbox or the gearbox drivetrain, something like that. Yeah, some fantastic driving here from Oscar Piastri, who's trying to get ahead of Leclerc, who's looking to the left of Leclerc, looking to the right of Leclerc, but Leclerc put his car at the right place and braked so late that Oscar Piastri could really do nothing about it. All right, we're still under safety car conditions. I think it makes sense now to go out on soft tyres. Potentially, the soft tyres may just last to the end. We've got safety car in this lap, folks. Safety car is in this lap. So 16 laps of racing. The soft tyres might just be able to do that. I think we saw Zhou pit on lap number 14 yesterday in the sprint race, 14 or 15, or maybe even slightly earlier. So yeah, we will see what happens. It's a little bit too risky. We could get another puncture, really. And let's just see what happened to Nico Hulkenberg. He was going through turn number 8, and he goes to turn number 9, turns in, and it's the rear of the car. He just loses the rear of the car. It might be partially due to dirty air, but either way, he loses the rear of the car. And yeah. Hamilton comes over the radio saying this car's messed up. He asks first what position he's in. He says 12th, and then he says this car's messed up. If we look at the Constructors' Championship, Ferrari are gaining 21 points this race. McLaren are gaining 30 points this race if it stays this way. So McLaren will gain 9 more points and essentially seal the deal. They won't theoretically seal the deal, but essentially they'll need a double DNF, and they'll need a Ferrari 1-2 next weekend if Ferrari want to win the Constructors. But this is it. The track is clear. Max Verstappen is crawling around at a snail's pace. And there we go. Foot flat to the floor from Max Verstappen. And a couple of the drivers at the back caught napping. One of the McLarens, Oscar Piastri, under pressure as they go out of the final corner. Let's wait and see. But Verstappen's got a great start. And Leclerc's gaining on Norris. Going into turn number 1, Norris goes defensive. Leclerc goes even further to the inside line, then swoops to the outside. And Leclerc's trying to get the switch back here on Norris. Nicely defended, though, from Norris. And a good defense of second place. Verstappen, however, he'll be aiming to set a couple more fastest laps. And is that Hamilton dropping down places? Hamilton's down into 13th. Loses 2 places off the restart. And it looks like his hard tyres just weren't warmed up to the correct temperature. And Hamilton is currently in second to last. He loses the position to Sonoda. Second to last place for Lewis Hamilton. And Zhou is still in 9th position, folks. We've got 15 laps remaining of this race. And Fernando Alonso on those mediums is going to be... He's right on the back back of Sainz here, and we could have some great overtaking between the two Spaniards as we go into lap number 43 of 57. Okay. Well, we'll keep an eye out on the gap in front. The DRS will be enabled on this lap. However, the drivers won't be able to use it because there's only one DRS zone on the circuit. They've come over the radio to Piastri to say, check the front left. I think Piastri is just worried about his front left, make sure he doesn't have a puncture. A bit of dust being kicked up there by George Russell. He's really attacking very hard and goes a little bit onto the gravel. And here comes Fernando Alonso. He has the highest speed through the speed traps. He got a fantastic slipstream and DRS earlier on in the race, and what can he do? And now against Carlos Sainz, he is gaining and gaining. He looks to the inside line of Carlos Sainz, but he's just a little bit too far back to get anything done on this occasion. Lap number 44 of 57. Verstappen yet to set a fastest lap of the race, but I'm sure he will on this occasion. Norris, though, he's staying within DRS here. This was the thing he couldn't do at the start of the race, but now this time he's on hard tyres. He's got a little bit more used to this circuit, and his main aim now is be within DRS. Oh my god, Lando Norris, a 10-second stop-go penalty for Lando Norris, failing to slow under yellow flags. I don't know what's happened here. I don't know exactly which occasion they're talking about. A 10-second stop-go. That means Norris comes into the pits, which is already a 26 seconds loss in time, and then he gets a 10 seconds on top of that, which that means he'll lose 36 seconds of time. He's going to be on the other side of the circuit compared to everyone else. Wow. Kevin Magnussen over the radio says Albon just rammed into me, and I think K-Mag got pushed off the side of the circuit and went off the track and got pushed into the gravel by Albon, so we'll see if Albon gets a penalty for that. But a 10-second stop go for Lando Norris. The fastest lap of the race was it from both drivers or just one? I think it was just Norris. Let me just double check. Oh, no, it's from both drivers. Both drivers got the fastest lap, so I'll increase the counter to 15 and 19. But, yeah, Norris with a 15-second stop go, that's going to be... yes, I don't know exactly which occasion he didn't slow down for the yellow flags, but, it is in the name of safety. If you don't slow down for the yellow flags, you could potentially hit a marshal. So... all right, they've come over the radio to Verstappen saying Norris has been giving a 10-second stop-go, which means you need to serve it within 2 laps. What does Verstappen say in return? Verstappen says nothing. All right, Superhero, thank you for the $5 donation. Penalty was from a turn 1 yellow earlier. He gained a 1-second advantage. All right, well, if that is true, then fair enough. Then Lando, if he gets another, if he comes into the pits now, that means he's going to drop down into 15th, and Zhou goes from 9th up into 8th position. That's going to help him just secure some more points. That will help him out in the case that Albon overtakes him. So here comes Lando Norris. He comes into the pit lane. Hamilton has been noted for speeding in the pit lane as well. Hamilton under the safety car conditions, I don't think was totally paying attention to his speed, slammed on the brakes just before the safety car line, and it looked like he brake checked Lando Norris, but I think he was just potentially exceeding the speed limit himself. So Hamilton may get another penalty for speeding in the pit lane. But Norris drops down to the back. There's a 3.5 second gap between Verstappen and Leclerc, so it looks like Verstappen has got this race comfortably in the bag. There's 12 laps left to go. I shouldn't speak this soon. There could be a puncture or anything for all I know. But we'll wait and see. Hamilton under investigation now for speeding in the pit lane. All right, Norris comes over the radio saying, for what? And he says, for failing to slow. And the engineer says, for failing to slow for yellow flags. Norris has no reply. I think he must know exactly what he's done. And that's why he doesn't argue it. All right, folks, we're getting pretty close to 120,000 subscribers. We are, 233 away, 221, 22 away, something like that. So go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. It very much helps out the channel. Now, what's the constructor score? Ooh, that is a good question. Let me get up the standings. McLaren will gain 15 points. Ferrari will gain 26. So that Ferrari will gain 9 points in the constructors. 11 points in the constructors if the positions stay just this way. However, Sainz may overtake Pierre Gasly. Hamilton has been given a drive-through penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Once again, it is a fair penalty if Hamilton sped in the pit lane. The rule is always, you get a drive-through. So the rules are rules. It's just unfortunate for Lewis Hamilton, and just terrible luck for him. And that's it. Max has set 17 fastest laps. Apologies for that. 17-9. I don't think we're going to be looking at Norris fastest laps anymore. But yeah, all right, we've got 29,000 people tuned in. Thank you very, very much for tuning in, folks. Glad you guys are enjoying. And yeah, we've got one more race left. In 7 days' time, the Formula One season will be coming to an end. Quite incredible, really. It's been a very, very long season. 24 races. In fact, the longest longest race Formula One has ever had in its history. K-Mag kind of just got pushed off the track by Albon. That incident has now been noted by the stewards, so we'll see what happens there, and if Albon ends up getting a penalty for that. All right. Yeah, Hamilton will serve his drive-through penalty, and he will drop to the back of the pack. Another fastest lap of the race, I think, there from Max Verstappen. So I think that's 18 now. Yeah, wow. All right, 18 fastest laps. I mean, there's only 57 laps of this race. So Max Verstappen has set 1/3 of the laps that we've been racing. Max Verstappen has set a fastest lap. Wild. In fact, Norris has now set a fastest lap. And Norris has got clean air. In fact, both drivers have clean air, but Norris will now just be pushing so hard. And not that it will probably change much because he's so far off the back of Lawson, but I guess he might as well. What happened to Perez? Oh yeah, I still didn't get a replay of what happened to Perez, but it looked like he spun under the safety car, and then he couldn't get the car going again for whatever reason. So who knows? And it could be double points for Sauber here. If Bottas can manage to get ahead of Magnussen, or if Albon gets a 5-second penalty, or if anything like that happens, then it could be double points for Sauber. Wow. Is there a chance of Russell winning, placing on the podium? Well, it's going to be tough. I don't think so. Overtaking has proved to be very, very difficult on this circuit. So yeah, I would highly doubt it. Even Alonso, who's on medium tires that are quicker than Sainz's hard tires, is still unable to gain on him. And yeah, and Sainz, who's significantly quicker than Gasly, is still finding it pretty tough to get an overtake done. They've just come over the radio to Hamilton to say box to retire the car. They're retiring Lewis Hamilton. K-Mag swoops around the outside of Alex Albon on this occasion and gets the overtake done very, very nicely. Another fastest lap of the race there from Lando Norris. And let's put that up to 11. All right. And Hamilton will be retiring the car. I don't know. Yeah, I think they're going to retire. Maybe Hamilton's saying, I don't want to retire. He might want to just finish the penultimate race with his the team that he's had so much success with. Yeah, we'll wait and find out. It took 6 retirements, but yeah, the Sauber are in the points. We'll see what happens between Albon and Magnussen. They're still under investigation, I think. Oh no, it's been noted. I don't think it's under investigation. Can Charles get a podium? Yeah, well, Charles is on the podium, so I don't think he can get the win. Look at that gap, 4.1 seconds, and it's just getting bigger and bigger. But yeah, also, folks, drive of the day, who's it going to be? Honestly, for me, it's going to be Guan Yu Zhou. He's not really done anything exceptional, but he's stayed on the road, hasn't had a puncture, hasn't done anything stupid, and will be scoring points for Sauber. So Guan Yu Zhou is most definitely going to be my driver of the day. They've come over the radio to Sainz to say battery is full. So Sainz has just been sat there in recharge mode, charging him his battery to 100%, and on the next lap he is going to unleash it on Pierre Gasly, and I think we're going to see a fairly easy overtake there from Carlos Sainz. Okay, why didn't Norris take the softs? Because it was a drive-through penalty. You're not allowed to come into the pit stops. You're not allowed to actually come into the garage to change tyres. You just have to drive through the pit lane. Oh no, no, for Norris it was a stop and go. And a stop and go means you still can't change tyres. If it's a 10-second penalty, you're allowed to change tyres. But if it's a stop and go, you're not actually allowed to change the tyres. Yeah. All right, K-Mag up into 9th now, and he is, well, he's going to try and chase down Zhou, but I don't think that's going to happen. 4 seconds is the gap. We've got 7 laps left of this race. Oh, it's under investigation, folks. It is under investigation. Alex Albon and Kevin Magnussen. Albon's currently in 10th place. He's 1.2 seconds ahead of Bottas. If he does get a 5-second time penalty, it could be double points for Sauber. Carlos Sainz deploys all of his battery, still yet to overtake Pierre Gasly. I don't know how that has happened. He said, I've got too much slipping on the way. And I think that means just in the final sector, his rear tyres slide around a little bit too much. He can't get the power down that he needs to. And, well, yeah, he can't gain any... he can't get the power down when he needs to, and he can't overtake Pierre Gasly. He needs to do it for the constructors. If Ferrari need to gain 15 points this race, 16 points next race, currently, if the standings are the way they are, they're going to gain 11 points, which would make an absolutely monumental task to win the constructors in Abu Dhabi. They're going to need like a 1-2 or something like that if they're going to win. So Sainz has really got to get this overtake done for the sake of the constructors. Lando Norris gets the overtake done on Liam Lawson. Nicely done. But it's still 13th place for him. He's got some more places to go and some more time to catch up to if he's going to get up into the points. Right, we're on lap number 52 of 57, and yeah, the gap at the front, 4.6 seconds. All eyes now just on the race control screen to see if Albon gets a penalty. I mean, Bottas is getting pretty close to overtaking Albon himself. The Williams running on bare spare parts that probably aren't meant to work together, like upgrade packages that have been mismatched together because they just don't have enough spares, is just hanging on for dear life now. Here comes Valtteri Bottas with some DRS. He is gaining on Alex Albon. What's it going to be? Can he get the overtake done? No, it was... Oh, yes, he can, actually. Valtteri Bottas, nicely done. And it's side by side through turn number 3 and 4. Can he get ahead? Oh, no. He just misses out. And Norris is up into 12th. He's going to try and catch up to Bottas, which I think he might be able to, in fact. But Bottas is going to try and overtake Albon on the road. All right. Here we go. Yeah, Charles Leclerc's been told over the radio Piastri is 1.1 seconds behind, use the energy. There's 6 laps left of this race. You might as well use all of your battery, Charles. Get the overtake, get everything down to 0% when you end the race. They've said to Oscar Piastri, you can use your overtake out of turn number 15. And yeah, Piastri's using all of his battery. Leclerc will be using all of his battery. They're all trying to defend. And look at that gap, 1.087 seconds. Leclerc is just keeping Piastri out of DRS. All right. Carlos Sainz with a huge snap. Carlos Sainz is just getting... the car isn't that controllable. He's getting quite a bit of oversteer here and there now as he tries to catch up to Pierre Gasly, and the dirty air isn't helping him out either. So it looks like Sainz is struggling. Bottas gets ahead. Very, very nicely done. Bottas gets ahead of Alex Albon, and here comes Lando Norris. Lando Norris is coming through as well, and well, we'll see what Norris can do. Albon and Norris, of course, friends from when they were rookies and in Formula 2. Albon racing Norris pretty hard here, but Norris is trying to find a way past. He does. He looks to the inside of turn number 4, and he gets that overtake done. Albon on those soft tyres, which were really not meant to do 17 laps. He's just falling more and more backwards. However, now it looks like Norris may overtake Valtteri Bottas and gain critical points for McLaren in the constructors. Every single point's going to help them out now. And as it currently stands, the championship will go to Abu Dhabi because Lando Norris is not scoring enough points for McLaren to win it this championship. For McLaren to win it this race. Right, it's going to be Norris versus Piastri. Norris versus Bottas, sorry, 4 laps left to go. Piastri is still out of DRS of Leclerc. Leclerc's doing a good job of managing it. Lawson's got 2 lap times deleted. 1 lap time deleted, never mind. But yeah, the drivers are going to have to be careful, otherwise a 5-second penalty will be coming their way. Albon gets a 10-second time penalty for causing a collision. I mean, 10 seconds is a bit harsh. It was a slight tap, and K-Mag managed to get ahead anyway. But Norris has got ahead of Bottas, and unfortunately he drops out of the points. Does Valtteri Bottas there. And Albon with a 10-second penalty, that's going to put him all the way down into last place. Hamilton still driving around here, trying to overtake Liam Lawson. He was told earlier to retire the car, but I think he wants to just end Mercedes, end the drive properly. You know, the mechanics have worked so hard all season long. So I think Hamilton's just doing the least that he can and finishing the race. Right. Yeah, there's 4 laps left. There's a 10-second gap between Norris and K-Mag. That's going to be very, very tough to close up. We'll see if he can. But yeah, it's going to be very tough. That's just going to be 1 extra point that Lando Norris will gain. So Ferrari will gain 10 points rather than 11. But yes, let's see if Sainz can actually gain on Gasly here. He's got DRS. He's slipstreaming him very hard. He's got the overtake button deployed as well. And he looks to the inside here of Pierre Gasly. Gasly's going to defend this one super duper hard and just brakes late enough to stay ahead of Carlos Sainz. Very, very nicely done. And Sainz has had a compromised inside line anyway. So successful defense there from Pierre Gasly. But he's still got 3 laps left to go to defend this position. All right. Lando Norris with another fastest lap. That puts his count up to 12. I think Verstappen isn't really pushing that hard because he doesn't want to get a puncture. There's always a risk. With 2 drivers getting a puncture on the same lap, there's always a risk that you could get a puncture. So Verstappen knows that he might as well back off a little bit and not risk getting a puncture. Okay. All right. Yeah, what an interesting race. Honestly, I messaged my friend this morning being like, oh, this race is going to be so boring. Like, there's probably no need to watch it. It's turned out to be pretty interesting from the second half of the race. First half, we were counting fastest laps. Second half, there's a bit of chaos. And now the Constructors' Championship is going down to the wire after a stop-go penalty from given to Lando Norris for speeding under the yellow flag. That's Norris is pushing so hard that he's just driving over the gravel trap and still keeps his foot flat to the floor. He absolutely does not care. And wow. There's an incident noted. George Russell has got a safety car infringement. Now, I have no idea what that details, but interesting. We'll see what happens to George Russell if he gets a post-race penalty or something like that. But ideally, they shouldn't do that. Right. Norris thinks he's in the W11 Merc. Yeah, honestly, Norris is pushing super duper hard. His lap times are in the 122.9. I mean, to be fair, Verstappen is doing the exact same lap time. But yeah, Norris is trying to catch up now to K-Mag. All right, Hamilton gets ahead of Tsunoda. Lawson gets ahead of Albon. Albon dives into the pit lane. I think he's retiring the car. It's a little bit too risky to drive around on 20-lap-old soft tyres. All right, this is the final lap of the race. Apologies for the data glitching out a little bit. I don't know what's going on here, but we've got 1 lap left to go, so it's not going to be an issue. A 14-second pit stop for Albon. I don't know why he's come into the pits. He had his 10-second penalty, so I guess he's just serving his penalty. I don't know why they would do that, but anyway. Yeah, Max Verstappen, Sainz, in fact, trying to overtake here Pierre Gasly on the final lap of the race. Can he send one to the inside? He doesn't. He does not send an overtake down the inside. I mean, this was his only shot. There's no other overtaking opportunities left. And Sainz is Wow, yeah, science just doesn't send one down the inside. I mean, I would have at least tried, but I guess there's always the risk of you crashing and then DNFing. So science has decided to play that one safe. Lando Norris will also get the fastest lap point, so that will reduce the points that Ferrari get. So it would have been 11 points that Ferrari would have gained over McLaren, but because Norris has got himself up into 10th and the fastest lap, that's going to be 9 points that Ferrari gain in the constructors, not 11. But now all eyes go to Max Verstappen. He was the fastest man in qualifying yesterday. He's been the fastest man all day on the track today as well. 18 fastest laps. He comes across the line to win the Qatar Grand Prix. A fantastic drive from Max Verstappen. Charles Leclerc comes across the line in second place. Piastri ever so close behind him. 7/10 is the gap as they come across the line. George Russell in fourth place. Gasly on fantastic form in fifth position. Carlos Sainz gets so close to overtaking him, but it's just not enough. Fernando Alonso scores some much needed points for the Aston Martin team. And Guan Yu Zhou scores some points for Kick Sauber. What a drive. They did need a couple of DNFs and a bit of luck to go their way, but nonetheless, fantastic job and definitely driver of the day. Lando Norris, after being hit with a stop-go penalty, comes across the line in 10th place with the fastest lap to score 2 critical points for the constructors for McLaren. All right, that has been it, folks. 57 laps of racing around here, and some very, very good action. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Hope you have all enjoyed the coverage. Yeah, have a wonderful morning, evening, night, or afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. It's been a pleasure commentating to you guys. I will be commentating for free practice 1, 2, 3, qualifying, and the race for Abu Dhabi. So I'm going to end the stream now. I'll take you over to the Abu Dhabi stream. If you could just hit the like button and the reminder button, that'd be fantastic. And Guan Yu Zhou does get driver of the day. 29% of the vote goes to him. So fantastic for that. And congrats to Max Verstappen, my number 2 idol aside from more jump. I don't know exactly what that means, but nonetheless, thank you for the donation. Very much is appreciated. We have just hit 120,000 subscribers as well. So thank you everyone for subscribing. And I will see you in Abu Dhabi. Thank you everyone for tuning in. And yeah, it's been a pleasure commentating to you. See you in 1 week for the final race of the Formula One season in 2024. Cheers, fellas.